Good evening. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory, and this is the First Alert Weather Show, which we stream every night at 9 p.m. Here's a live look at the Owensboro Riverfront. Quite the party going on down there as Friday after 5 is underway, and they've had beautiful weather for that this evening. Moving forward, tonight is going to be partly cloudy and mild. Then our rain chances gradually increase over the next few days. There's a very isolated chance of rain Saturday and Sunday. Then rain is likely Monday, carrying over into Tuesday. Then it starts to taper back off again. But when that rain starts to taper off, the temperatures really ramp up, and it is going to be downright hot across the tri-state for in the middle and end of next week. So looking ahead to the second half of next week, that's when things really start to heat up. I am keeping an eye on the comments here tonight, so just drop any questions you have in the comment section here as we go along. Let me make sure that they are updating. Yes, good evening, Suzanne. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's dig into that forecast, especially for this weekend. I know a lot of folks have plans and are curious how the weather might play out. We've got a few thin clouds out there tonight, but it's mostly clear overhead right now. We'll see more clouds building in overnight and into Saturday morning. I do think we'll probably see more clouds than we will sunshine on Saturday, but there will be at least a few peaks of sun. Mostly cloudy Saturday morning. Then as we get toward midday, there's this very isolated chance of rain. I think most of us are going to stay dry on Saturday, but don't be shocked if you do get caught under just a stray shower at some point through the middle of the day on Saturday. Saturday evening, we may see a few breaks in the clouds, get a little bit of clearing in here. But again, any sunshine we see on Saturday probably won't last very long. It's trending more and more cloudy as we get closer to the actual day. And the clouds really take over then Saturday night into Sunday. Sunday, I think, will be mostly cloudy all day long, but a good chunk of the day is looking dry. Again, it's a slightly better chance than what we've got on Saturday, especially as we get into Sunday afternoon and evening. But even that, isolated to scattered at best, just a few hit or miss showers possible mainly later in the day on Sunday. So many of us may end up staying dry the entire weekend, and then those rain chances really ramp up as we get into early next week. As for our temperatures, we topped out in the mid 80s this afternoon. Now we're starting to fall back into the 70s. It's 78 right now in Evansville and Newburgh. Owensboro already down to 73, and by the end of the night we'll eventually bottom out in the mid to upper 60s. Now, last night we got into the low 60s, so it will be a little bit warmer out there tonight. Generally a pretty mild evening across the tri-state. Tomorrow, partly sunny, but again, I do think we'll see quite a few clouds, mainly dry, but an isolated shower can't be ruled out. And despite the fact that we won't have as much sunshine as we had today, I still think tomorrow's going to be a few degrees warmer thanks to this wind from the southwest pulling that warmer air up into the tri-state. Our temperatures will climb into the upper 80s Saturday afternoon. I mentioned that isolated chance of a shower Saturday and again on Sunday as this frontal system dips down from the north. But this whole weekend is really trending mostly dry. Monday is when that front is going to kind of stall out across the tri-state, and as it does, that's our best chance of rain. Scattered showers seem likely. We may get a few thunderstorms. Still not really seeing potential for much severe weather. We may get an isolated stronger storm, but I'm doubtful we'll see any severe weather this week. Then this frontal system starts to lift back off to the northeast. As it kind of pivots and makes its way back across the tri-state, we still see those scattered rain chances lingering into Tuesday. Then it starts to become more isolated on Wednesday as that front starts to move out. And I think by Thursday we'll be mainly dry, but we will have hot air flowing in from the south. As that front pushes out to the northeast, hot air from the south will move in behind it to kind of take its place. So our temperature trend through the next 7 days. Tomorrow's going to be pretty warm, upper 80s, even though it'll be partly to mostly cloudy. We do have clouds and some rain then cooling us off a bit Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Notice though Tuesday, that's when that front starts to lift back to the northeast. And as it pushes north, hot air from the south comes in behind it. And that's where we see our temperatures starting to climb. And I think by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week, it's going to be the hottest weather we've had so far this year, with highs making a run into the low 90s, possibly for 3 days in a row there. And it won't just be hot, it's also going to be humid. We did have very dry air in place on Tuesday, and it's still been pretty tolerable as far as the humidity has been concerned this whole week. But since Tuesday, our humidity has been very slowly increasing, and it's going to continue to increase as we go through this weekend and into the start of next week. Now, some of that Monday and Tuesday is because we've got that good chance of rain. Obviously, when it rains, that adds moisture to the atmosphere and your humidity goes up. But notice even into Wednesday and Thursday, when we're expecting the rain chances to start to taper off, we're still up in that muggy to near stifling range. And that's when we're looking at temperatures into the 90s. So not only will it be hot, it'll be humid too. And that's really important, especially when it comes to how our bodies cool themselves. When you think about why we sweat, the physics behind that, the biology behind that, our bodies like to stay near 98.6, right? Well, when they start to heat up, our body temperature starts to rise because we're doing strenuous activity or it's hot outside. Our body's natural reaction to that is we start to sweat. That sweat is released from our skin, and then through something called evaporative cooling, when that sweat evaporates off of our skin, it pulls heat from our body and transplants it basically into the air around us. So we see that evaporation of that sweat cooling our body. And so that's your body's natural way of keeping it from overheating, right? So that's what happens when we get hot. The problem is when it's really humid outside, we struggle with that. That sweat doesn't evaporate. Just sweating doesn't cool you off. That sweat has to evaporate in order to cool you down. That's a part of why it feels better to sit next to a fan or something like that. It's blowing that body heat away from your body and also helping to evaporate that sweat, right? But when that sweat stays on your skin, it leaves you with that kind of sticky feeling, and it stops your body from basically correcting the fact that it's overheating. So here's an example. In both of these scenarios, the temperature is 88 degrees. In the one on the left here, the humidity is at 40%. The one on the right, the humidity is at 70%. Now, when these two people, these little smiley face people we've got here, both begin to sweat, because 88 is pretty hot, right? So they start to sweat in this heat. In the one with the relative humidity of 40%, that sweat immediately starts to evaporate away. They maintain their body's temperature, and so there's not really any sort of impact from that humidity. In the one where the humidity is at 70%, they start to sweat, and that sweat has nowhere to go. The air is already so full of moisture that sweat does not easily evaporate off their skin. And so in that scenario, they keep getting sweatier and keep getting hotter. Their body starts to overheat. You're now starting to worry about something like heat exhaustion or even heat stroke. And because your body cannot cool itself down, it feels hotter to you than it actually is. So in both these situations, the temperature is 88 degrees, but the one with the lower humidity feels like 88 degrees. The one with the high humidity, at that point, your heat index feels more like 100 because your body's natural cooling system is breaking down. And so that's something that we oftentimes see here during the summer months, and it's something we'll be monitoring for as we get into next week. We do have that rain kind of cooling us down, but again, adding moisture to the atmosphere. Then as the rain tapers off and hot, still humid air flows in from the south, our temperatures will climb into the low 90s second half of next week, but I think we could see heat index values climbing into the upper 90s or maybe even low triple digits, as it will be rather steamy out there. Good evening, Cheyenne and Missy and Jeff. Yes, Marilyn, more rain. Welcome news for the farmers. I am going to go over the drought monitor update here in just a second. It hasn't changed since last night, since it only updates once a week. But for those of you who may have missed it, the drought is improving, and we still need more rain, though. We want to keep the drought away. So this rain is good news for the farmers. And some folks asking about Missy wanting to know what it's going to be like in Owensboro tomorrow. Same as it is the rest of the Tri-State. partly to mostly cloudy. You'll get a little sun, but there's going to be quite a few clouds over the region. Maybe a stray shower. I wouldn't be shocked if you got a stray shower at some point right through the middle of the day tomorrow, but most of us are probably going to stay dry. High temperatures will be somewhere in the upper 80s. Christian also hoping it doesn't rain tomorrow. And again, your chances of that are very isolated. So you might catch a stray shower, but odds are you'll probably stay dry on Saturday. And if you do get any rain, it should be pretty brief. And good evening to you as well, Lenny. So far, June has brought us highs in the low to mid 80s. That's right where our temperatures should be topping out this time of year. We haven't had much in the way of rain so far this month. We had those showers Monday morning. Then after that, it has been dry so far through this first week of June here. So we are running a little short on rainfall both for the month, and we're still running about 7 inches short on rainfall for the year. It has been a rather warm, dry spring. I do want to point out our average temperature for this first week of June running about 2 degrees below normal. Our highs have been very close to normal for this time of year, but our lows at night have been getting cooler than you would expect for the month of June. We even dipped into the 50s a couple times this week, so that's what's kind of bringing that average temperature down. I mentioned the drought monitor. Again, this is good news. At one point, basically the whole tri-state was in at least moderate drought, and parts of western Kentucky were in extreme drought. We've now seen much of the tri-state pulled where we're not in any kind of drought or even abnormally dry conditions whatsoever. Western Kentucky still in moderate drought, but again, that's a huge improvement from being in severe drought just last week and extreme drought the week before. So that unsettled weather pattern we had at the end of May, where we got rain kind of on and off for 2 weeks basically, that really helped us out with these drought conditions, but it has been dry this week, so things may be starting to get a little crispy out there again, which is why we need the rain that we have on the way to start next week. I mentioned this temperature trend where as the rain moves in, we kind of cool things off. Then as the rain lifts off to the northeast, our temperatures heat back up, and we are concerned that we could have our first really genuinely hot summertime weather by the second half of next week. The extended outlook does show a trend toward slightly above average temperatures hanging around through next weekend and into the start of the following week, along with some near to maybe slightly above average precipitation. So this kind of warm, sticky weather with this at least isolated chance of rain each day, that pattern toward the end of next week may stick with us on through that weekend and into the start of the following week as well. All right, and Karen does not want rain in Morganfield on Monday. I have some bad news for you, Karen. I'm pretty sure it probably is going to rain in Morganfield on Monday. Monday is our best chance of seeing rain across the entire tri-state. It does look like it'll be mainly just rain, but a few thunderstorms are certainly possible. I'm not really anticipating severe weather this week. Really Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, I can't totally rule out the chance of an isolated stronger storm, but for the most part, this looks like it's just going to be scattered rain and maybe a few rumbles of thunder as we get into the start of next week. But nonetheless, rain, a good possibility for Morganfield on Monday, along with the rest of the tri-state. I'm not seeing any other questions in the comments, so I'm going to go ahead and start to wrap this up. I'll have an updated look at your forecast on 14 News tonight at 10, and then as many of you know, Michael Fecca left us this week. He is traveling cross country to take a job in Portland, Oregon. So that means for the time being, we are without a weekend meteorologist. So you'll see myself and Jeff and Byron kind of rotating through, filling in on the weekends here for the next few weeks until we can get somebody else hired and trained to fill his spot. So meteorologist Byron Douglas will be giving you your forecast tomorrow, and then I'll be in on Sunday. So you'll have to tune in each weekend just to kind of see who's filling in that night, since we are without Michael for the time being. But with that, I will wrap you up, and I will have your forecast at least tonight at 10. So I hope you'll join us for that. Then Robinson Miles will be here with all of your latest news headlines, and I'll have your forecast, and Aaron Hancock is in with sports. So we've got a good crew in here tonight at 10. I hope you'll join us for that. And with that, everybody enjoy the rest of this nice Friday night. I hope you have a great weekend and that the weather cooperates with all your plans. Enjoy the weather this weekend, because really, aside from a stray shower, it looks pretty nice. Next week, though, basically our only two options are it's going to be rainy, then it's going to be hot. So I hope you soaked up the nice weather while we had it. All right, everybody have a good rest of your night.